From the studios of Foxboro Cable Access, located in the center of Foxborough, Massachusetts, you are watching Around Foxborough.
Hi, welcome to Around Foxborough. I'm Steve Uden, and I have a very interesting, informative, and important guest tonight that we are going to talk with for a better part of a half an hour. I'd like to introduce and say thank you to Elizabeth. Would you tell us your full name so we can know you on the ballot?
Absolutely, Steve, and thank you for inviting me. I'm Elizabeth Dionne. I am running for Massachusetts State Treasurer, which I often say is the most important job people in Massachusetts know too little about. It's actually the fourth most powerful job in the state, after the House Speaker, Senate President, then Governor's third, and then Treasurer's fourth. So people need to know about this office and all the powers that it has.
Yeah, that's a civics lesson that needs to be hammered a little more. That's very enlightening, and maybe we can talk a little more about that.
Absolutely.
As the responsibilities become yours if the election goes your way, and we'll see where this goes. I'd like to start with what I call the pedigree question. I've researched you, and you're quite a woman. Could you tell me about where you're from, how you came here, and your education and your work in other town offices and boards?
So a fun fact about me is that I'm the fifth of 10 children.
Okay.
And I was born into politics. My father was the leader of the California Senate Republicans during the same 8 years that Ronald Reagan was governor.
Wow.
So I was born halfway between that. And so Dad and Reagan met on a daily basis because Dad was responsible for getting Reagan's legislative agenda through the California State Senate.
Wow. So
then Utah was a lot cheaper than California, so we spent my teenage years in Utah. And then I came out to Wellesley College in 1988. And apart from a couple of other degree stints, Massachusetts has been our home ever since. My husband and I raised our 4 children here. They were born here. So this is my home now.
Sure, and that's where life takes us. When you were at Wellesley, I'm not trying to date anything or age anything, but didn't Hillary Clinton teach there?
She didn't teach there. So my sophomore year, Barbara Bush was the commencement speaker.
Oh, really?
And my senior year, Hillary Clinton was the commencement speaker.
Okay, well,
So we got both sides while I was there.
You can't get away from politics, can you?
Well, and I majored in political science. And then I spent a couple of years in England getting a degree in political theory.
Okay.
And then that was at the University of Cambridge. And then I went to Stanford Law School. And then came back and after having 4 children, decided I still didn't know enough and did another master's degree in political science at Boston College.
I saw the BC when I was reading.
So I've got a spread.
You've got quite a wall of, in the Army they call it the I love me wall, when they put all their awards up on the wall.
Not that I love me,
no,
but I love learning. But I'd actually say right now, as grateful as I am for the opportunities that I had, and actually my husband's story is even more interesting, I think the need right now is vocational education. We have 30,000 students who want to be in vocational education, and right now, what we need are jobs, and we have good jobs in the trades that we can't fill, 6-figure jobs. Those are jobs that won't be shipped overseas. They're jobs that AI isn't going to take over. So I am so grateful for the education that I had, but it's not, life changes, we evolve. And really right now, what Massachusetts needs is more vocational education.
You hit a string in my heart, because I've been very active on the school committee of our vocational tech school over in Easton, Massachusetts, EASTON, Southeastern Regional Voc Tech. And you had me there. You have me right there. Now, about getting people to know you a little more professionally, you've held quite a few offices and board positions in Belmont, etc., right? Could you elaborate on that? Because I want to make sure people understand your qualifications for the office, which I think are strong.
Thank you for that compliment. Let me start back. So I actually, after law school, practiced corporate law for a few years in Boston, a couple of firms there, Testa, Hurwitz, and Tebow, then Goodwin Proctor. But my husband and I have a son with autism, and it was pretty involved.
Okay.
And we were fortunate that we had the wherewithal that I could step back. So I became his full-time advocate for a while. So those special education children are near and dear to my heart.
Mm-hmm.
And he has come a long way. And when he was more stabilized, we didn't really need the money from a legal career. And so I did a couple of things. I started working for Massachusetts Advocates for Children.
Oh, excellent.
As a pro bono attorney for low-income special needs children, because special education law really relies on private enforcement. And if you're not a litigation threat, you're not going to be taken as seriously.
Mm-hmm.
So because I was an attorney, my son got everything that he needed, and I could see that other children weren't getting that. So I felt like it was really important to help those who...
And you were in that role, if you will, for quite some time?
For about 8 years.
And it's probably still with you in some ways, right?
Well,
in
yeah, and then I got
mind
my heart and mind and soul, sure. And our autistic son still lives with us.
Mm-hmm.
He's done extremely well, but it just is best for him.
And you've also served in Belmont, where you live now.
So at the same time that I was doing this work, I also realized that Belmont faced some real financial challenges and decided I wanted to be part of the solution instead of just complaining.
Right.
So I ran for town meeting and then very quickly was put on our finance committee, which advises town meeting on the budget. And then after that, was appointed to the Community Preservation Committee and became chair of that.
Excellent.
And that, you may be aware, administers funds for recreation, open space, affordable housing, and historic preservation. But each of these gave me really deep budget experience.
Okay.
And then reached a point where I had been working on numerous reforms and realized that select board was the next step to see those reforms through to fruition.
And
so I ran for select board.
If I may, I've always thought that the finance committee, or the advisory committee as we call it here in Foxborough, I call it the nursery of future local politics. You learn a lot in there.
Yes.
At an intimacy level with the books that nobody even realizes how much you learn on these committees, and then you run for the select board. Right.
And then that actually led directly to running for treasurer. I had not planned to run for treasurer. I planned to run for select board again. But we reformed, and I can talk more about this, we reformed everything about how we ran our finances in Belmont. And we reformed our zoning to be more business friendly, to expand our commercial tax base, and to allow small businesses to open more easily. Again, we did everything. We did long-term budgeting, revenue-based budgeting, reformulated our finance team. Belmont has a AAA bond rating.
Excellent.
It's not enough. I looked at what's happening to local budgets, and in particular, the state's budget is record-breaking. The governor just signed a nearly $64 billion budget. It's probably going to be $70 billion by the time the legislature and she are done. But local aid has not kept up. Local aid has only gone up 25% over the same period of time the state budget's doubled. And we, at the local level, have to do fire and police and education and streets and sidewalks and water infrastructure. The state gives us the responsibility, but it has not given us the funding. And that's why you see 70 cities and towns this year asking for overrides, but we're already the 4th highest property tax state in the nation.
And
there's not room for more.
And the 2.5 overrides are growing. That is, they're increasing rather, or more frequent.
Some are being turned down, some are being adopted. But my point is, if the state would do its job when it comes to local aid, there would be far fewer of them. Far fewer would be necessary. And the state, I am convinced, has the money. And so I realized if I were going to help Belmont, I needed to help all 351 cities and towns. And the treasurer has a unique role to play in local aid, which again, people may not realize, but the treasurer is over the lottery. And the lottery is the single largest source of unrestricted local aid. So the treasurer, $1 billion
plus, right? $1 billion
yeah,
plus.
$1 billion plus. And there is substantially more local aid than that, but because of the lottery, I feel like the treasurer has a unique voice. The treasurer can be an advocate on Beacon Hill for cities and towns, where frankly, there is no advocate right now. No one is speaking up for cities and towns and local aid. As an example, the Massachusetts Municipal Association asked for a $351 million incremental increase, which frankly is symbolic, but there's 351 cities and towns. We really need more like $1 or $2 billion as a marginal increase, but they asked for $351 million. The governor's budget cut it to $35 million. The House budget cut it to $10 million. And then the reconciliation budget went back up to $40 million. But it was $40 million when we really need $1.5 to $2 billion.
So it sounds to me like you're hitting some of the items I wanted to talk about, and that was what's in need of repair, and I think you've covered that quite well. But what is without getting political?
Yep.
Okay, this isn't a talking head show. Okay, but is the money drying up because there's no taxes coming in, or people are moving out of the state, or people are moving in and draining resources?
You're actually hitting
what's the problem? Do you know?
Two different questions. It's two different questions. The first is the money drying up? Absolutely not. The state budget has been increasing by record amounts ever since Charlie Baker stepped down and Maura Healey became governor.
Okay.
That's just numbers. That's not me being political. That's just numbers. So there is substantial money at the state level. But in my opinion, the state is doing what some people claim the Air Force does. And what people claim the Air Force does, and I love all veterans, including the Air Force.
Sure.
But they'll build the clubs and all the bells and whistles and all the fancy toys and then say, oops, we need runways. Give us more money for runways.
Okay.
So the state is not exercising discipline. And frankly, you've seen the same stories that I have. Every few weeks, it's another story of fraud. And because we're not keeping a tight eye on that, I think that there's room there to tighten up and to return more money. And so the state assumes that it's a lot easier to make people raise taxes for education and firefighters and police than it is to just generally raise their taxes and send more money to the state.
It's almost cliche, actually, right?
Yeah.
Respectfully, right, to the organization.
So, but then you raised something else, which is what's happening to our tax base. In the short run, the tax base has obviously been healthy because we've had record amounts of revenue. We are hemorrhaging our 25 to 35-year-olds right now. The most important reason that I'm running for state treasurer is because my husband and I, as I said, have 4 adult children who cannot afford to live and raise their children here in Massachusetts, and neither can their friends or classmates. We are losing our future. And as we do that, we are losing our tax base. So the state is setting itself up for a really ugly reckoning if we do not change course very quickly.
And imagination, creativity, and creation of jobs that you and I don't even know exist yet, right?
So here's another statistic. Massachusetts ranks 50th out of 50 for job creation and 50th out of 50 for economic growth right now. People do not realize that. We have thrown away our competitive advantages with both hands. We overtax, we overregulate, we are hostile, we are the second most expensive state in the nation. Our young people literally cannot afford to live here.
When you spoke earlier at the beginning of this show, you said the gravitas of the state treasurer's job. Is this where, if you're elected, you would be able to scream louder that the baby is ugly and what's wrong, right? Well, I don't mean to be funny per se, but
I say, I don't want to tell you your baby's ugly, but your baby's ugly.
The baby's ugly. You just kind of said it, right?
Yeah.
But I want to say this right, properly, with neutrality. How would you sound that alarm louder than the treasurer that's currently in office or past?
I'm going to be blunt.
Or competitors? The
treasurer who's currently in office, there's a reason that 77% of the state doesn't know who she is. This is the 4th most powerful office in the state. 77% of voters cannot name her.
That's kind of where I was going with this. How will you have a bullhorn that?
Oh yes.
On your desk, so to speak.
I am not a shrinking violet.
We talked before the show, and I can't agree with you more.
And also, this office has 13 departments, each of which is a select board member I've interacted with. And unfortunately, in almost all the departments, there are changes that could and should be made to make the trains run better.
That brings that. And I like that making, because it's a nonpartisan job. It
really is a nonpartisan job.
And you like to say that keep the trains running on time, and I think that's an apt phrase for what my opinion is worth. But I think we're getting there. Waste, spending, and management thoughts, and then I would ask, what would your staff look like? Would it be a bigger staff, a smaller staff, the same size staff? How does that work when you're thinking end game?
A lot of really important questions there. So the first thing to know about the staff, unfortunately, part of the reason the treasurer's office is so powerful is because it's been viewed as a source of patronage.
Oh,
So
really?
every time there was a Republican governor, something got taken from the governor and given to the treasurer. So when Frank Sargent was governor, lottery didn't go to him.
Going way
went
back.
to Bob Crane.
Yeah, right.
When Mitt Romney was governor, the Alcoholic Beverages Control Commission got taken from Romney and given to Tim Cahill.
Like the cannabis stuff.
Well, and then Charlie Baker was governor, and cannabis didn't go to him. It went to the current treasurer, Deb Goldberg, except that she messed it up so badly, frankly, that in April, the legislature, the House voted 155-0 to take it away from her. That is compelling.
Them's strong words.
When you have a unanimous vote to remove an agency from someone, that's a pretty strong message.
That's a very strong message.
But let me back up and say,
please.
The reason that I was talking about patronage is, unfortunately, I've heard this from both sides of the aisle, that the current treasurer has exercised quite a bit of patronage.
Okay.
My commitment is that you will not be hired for who you know, but for what you know and your commitment to the public good. And I don't care if you're a Democrat or a Republican. I care that you're talented and that you have a reform agenda. I have spoken with a number of legislators on Beacon Hill, Democrats and Republicans both, who are frustrated because they've had ideas for reforms that badly need to happen. And they've literally, the treasurer won't return their phone calls.
Might be interesting if you spoke to our rep in State Congress, Mike Chasson here in Foxborough, a very interesting man. I'm sure you'll talk. You have, and I'm not pandering to you, and I hope the people watching this don't think I am, but I want to reiterate, your qualifications allow me to continue this conversation with you, because with the issues you brought up, you can hold people accountable because you have the brains and the experience and the education to do that, right? This isn't hi, I'm here, I have no idea what the hell I'm doing.
The current treasurer and I have the same professional credentials. She's an attorney who served on the select board in Brookline. I'm an attorney who served on the select board in Belmont.
Two very comparable
roles.
Neighborhoods and roles, yep.
I feel that the similarities end there. I'm just going to be blunt. She is the heir to the Stop and Shop fortune, who spends a chunk of her time in her third home in Palm Beach. One of my many pledges that I'm making to voters is if they hire me, I will continue to live in my one home full-time in the state. I will go to the office in person. She attends by Zoom or telephone. That to me is not appropriate. This is the fourth most powerful office in the state. The voters deserve someone who has sufficient respect for them in the office to show up in person. Also, I have uncovered issue after issue after issue that candidates should be fixed. I don't know if you're familiar with what happened with Shannon O'Brien at the Cannabis Control Commission.
Up here, not at the
very,
nuts and
very
bolts
briefly.
level.
So
I know that was controversial.
Shannon is a Democrat. Former treasurer herself was brought in to clean up the Cannabis Control Commission. Within a year, she had identified the problems. And this is all a matter of public record and a matter of court cases and opinions. So I'm not saying anything that's not publicly known. So Shannon went to the treasurer and said, you have major problems. This is how they need to be fixed. And it included firing someone that the treasurer had put in there.
Okay.
And instead of backing up Shannon O'Brien, who's a reformer, she protected her minion. She then, to get rid of Shannon, falsely accused her of racism. Shannon spent $1 million of her money. Treasurer Deb Goldberg spent $1 million of taxpayer money to fight this for 2 years. At the end of 2 years, the judge said the charge of racism was built on a house of cards and reinstated Shannon O'Brien with back pay. But we lost 2 years of reform. 2 more years that the Cannabis Control Commission was in chaos. Speaker Ron Mariano called it a train wreck. The State Inspector General said it needed to go into receivership. The auditor issued a scathing report. So it was all chaos while they had this personal political vendetta going on.
Okay.
So someone who I admire deeply, Shannon O'Brien. She was a very capable treasurer. And again, this is not partisan. She's a Democrat, I'm a Republican, doesn't matter. If someone like Shannon O'Brien would come work for me, I would say thank you, and I have your back. So the role of a leader, there's 13 departments. I'm not running all 13 departments. I had 3 jobs. My first job is to pick really qualified people to run each of those departments.
Which I've led into here as a manager.
My second job is to give them political cover, to set the tone and say, this is what I need you to do. I will be the interface with the legislature and the governor so that you can do your job. I will take the arrows. I will protect you so you can do your jobs. the third thing. The only way that you can know what's going on in every department is to have a completely open door to your frontline workers who have the best on-the-ground information.
So you know...
They need to know that they can come talk to me at any time, they will not be punished for what they say, and that I will honor confidentiality.
So what your staff would look like would be, if you will, best and brightest and capable according to your standards. Now, unfortunately, I only have about 5 minutes or so left. Okay.
What do you want to talk about?
Well, I like...
and I can always come back.
Well, yes, and I'm sure that can be done. Before we go to final words, where I'll talk about where to be for Election Day and those sorts of things, would you like to talk to us about you again, about what you, other than the autism work you've volunteered for? Do you like to travel with your family, or
I do.
Do you like to volunteer for the Cub Scouts, or like, or you know, other organizations?
So something fun that people might not know about me.
Maybe church, I don't know.
Yeah, church. I was going to say, I am a volunteer organist and choir director for my church.
No
Yes.
kidding. One of my favorite people is our agonist, as we called her at church, Ingrid Gutberg.
So my mother made sure that all 10 of us sing and play an instrument. My youngest sister is a very well-known opera singer.
Really?
I have a brother who sang with the Tabernacle Choir on Temple Square. So yeah, so that is a fun fact that people don't know about me. Is I love music, I love to play the piano, and I love to sing. And we were having fun singing at Rodgers and Hammerstein before
we were
the
doing
cameras
the sound
went live.
check, you and I, yeah. Well, you can't do a Zoom meeting at an organ, the king of instruments, right?
No, you're right there.
And I like that you've been transparent, if you will. I hate that overused term, but that you're going to stay in Belmont and not be a vapor leader, you know, like
not only that, I've pledged. People
there'll be
people go to my
blizzards and
website.
stuff, right?
I have made a series of pledges. Each of them is a response to things that I think are inappropriate or going wrong.
Where can we go? And we'll put them on an editing of the show at the bottom of the screen. Where do you want to say verbally people should go to learn more about you in this political
Go to my
arena?
website, votedionne.com. So that's votedionne.com. And I think the most important thing for them to look at on that website are the pledges that I've made, the promises that I am making to the voters. And one of those promises is that my travel schedule will be public. People deserve to know if I'm not in the state and why.
Right, and then you're not in the grill with a coconut and a straw.
Yeah, I'm not in Palm Beach.
Right.
Wouldn't be anyway. My husband and I, Massachusetts has been so good to us and we've done well, but I haven't forgotten where I came from, and he's the third son of a single mom who grew up on a farm.
Hey, and if
we remember.
If you can get a cottage on Lake Winnipesaukee, then God bless you, right?
Exactly,
Everybody
and
has
I have no envy, no envy, but I do think that there are certain commitments you make when you run for public office. It's a privilege and it's power, and part of that is giving up some of your privacy.
We're getting real close to sunset on this show. Tell us about Election Day, your feelings on voter enthusiasm, and where and how to vote for you for treasurer.
So Election Day for me, I don't have a primary. I am the Republican candidate. I will be on the ballot on November. So vote November 3rd, wherever you vote. And I'm a statewide candidate, so everyone can vote for me, and I would love everyone's votes.
Okay.
Right now, voter enthusiasm that I'm seeing is extremely high because people, in the same way that Diana DiZoglio has taught people about the auditor's office and how important the audit is, I am trying to be out there teaching people about how important the treasurer's office is. It's up to 20% of the state budget. It's hundreds of billions of dollars in assets, from state debt to pension investment funds, to the Clean Water Trust, to the Veterans Bonus Program, to unclaimed property, which has a lot of problems that we haven't even gotten to. So I could talk about this for a really, really long time. Very excited about it.
I'm looking at the lottery ticket I bought the other day, but I can't bring it up to you. That would be a terrible ethical breach on my part. Do you have anything else you want to talk about that I haven't mentioned, or that you think you want to reiterate? Because it's been a real pleasure talking to you.
Likewise. I'd like to speak just directly to your viewers for a minute.
Go ahead.
I'm Elizabeth Dionne, and I'm running to be your taxpayers' treasurer for one simple reason, which is that you need and deserve a treasurer who remembers that every dollar has come from a taxpayer's pocket and needs to be treated with care and respect. We face two major issues in the Commonwealth right now: One is affordability, the other is transparency. I've talked already about what I hope to do for affordability and returning more money to cities, towns, and taxpayers. But what I also want to promise you is that my first act as treasurer will be to order an audit of all 13 departments. You deserve to know where every dollar is going. It is your money, not the state's. Again, that's my commitment to you as a taxpayer's treasurer, that I'll watch every dollar and you will know where every dollar goes.
Elizabeth, how do we spell your last name again so people recognize it?
So it's pronounced like Celine Dion, Elizabeth
Okay.
Dionne, but it's spelled differently. It's D-I-O-N-N-E.
Double N-E.
Double N-E.
D-I-O, double N-E. It's time to go, and I've had a remarkable conversation with, I think, a very well qualified candidate, and off camera, a very likable and genuine, sincere person. My name is Stephen Uden. This is Around Foxborough. Thank you for tuning in, and please share this hot link of this show to other people if you liked what you heard. I think a lot of people will be very interested in Elizabeth. So God bless you, thank you, and adios.